Listen, thank you so much for being here. My name is Natalie Obregon, and I'm one of the Career and Education Outreach Specialists with Workforce Solutions Capital Area. And so today's webinar, we're talking about winter work, temporary seasonal jobs that, if you're a student in high school or just someone that's looking for a part-time job, I'm really glad that you were able to join us because we're going to be actually talking to a representative. It's Heather Hollister with Chick-fil-A later on at the 30-minute segment. Again, this is just for an hour till 4:30. We'll be here. And let's just get started. It's a beautiful day, and I'm so happy that you're able to join us, even if it is through Zoom. So a little bit about me and kind of why I was really excited for this presentation is because I myself have done a lot of retail and seasonal jobs, as you can see here. This was me at Kohl's back in, well, I worked from 2017 at the end as a temporary worker up until actually last year, 2019. So I was Santa's elf that day. I used to do the Omni, so I would online shop, but for customers, obviously, in the store. And I actually really enjoyed the work. Customer service is super important, as we'll talk about later on, but it's also not for the faint of heart. So you would think that retail, it's just putting up clothes, putting it away, selling clothes to people. It definitely takes a lot more than that. So I am very appreciative of having had that position because it taught me a lot about how to manage problems, how to resolve, and how to resolve conflict because that does arise a lot. So I also worked at Trader Joe's, which is another, grocery store. So although it wasn't exactly what I do today, it has totally helped me having those jobs in the past to do the work that I do now. I know how to communicate better. I'm more effective as a person that can multitask or just have different skills that had I not had those retail jobs and just had my degree from college after leaving in 2016, I wouldn't be the person I am today for sure. But I also wanted to add something here was that when I worked at Kohl's, I used to have two jobs. So I had AmeriCorps, which is, for those that don't know, kind of like the Peace Corps, but in the United States alone. And I did it with an organization called CIS. And I did it because I had to. So I needed to provide for myself, of course. And it was difficult because I was working and clocking in a lot of hours a week. And I want to make like a quick note that, for a while, I was running at 150%. And anyone will tell you that you can't go too long working that much. So I would do maybe 40 hours with my full-time job and work at Kohl's on weekdays, weeknights, I'm sorry, and weekends. So I sometimes would do 70-hour weeks for work, and that's a lot. So towards the end of Kohl's last year, I definitely just felt like, kind of fatiguing myself. But I had to, I was going into to finishing the work, but one day going into work, I had a panic attack. It was scary. Luckily, I had the advocacy for myself and the understanding that as an employee, of course, I had to take care of my own health. And immediately I talked to my manager. I said, "Hey, Andrea, I have to go home. I feel just strange, like my vision went blurry. It was like very physical that I could notice that I was not doing well." And at that point in time, I realized, like, wow, my health comes first before anything else. I had luckily a really supportive manager. And luckily, I had the voice, which we'll talk again later on about how important it is to be assertive for yourself, to say, like, hey, I can't do this today. And she was totally fine, of course. I stayed for a little bit longer after that until I finished my role. But all in all, it was a huge experience, a huge learning experience for me to see that sometimes, people won't know what you don't tell them. So even though it was an easy job because it's just retail, there was a lot to be learned there. So that's my spiel. Let's get started more on now who is hiring. If you are looking for work as a part-time for the holidays to make some extra money to buy some more gifts, we have a lot of great information, and as you can see, employers that are hiring today and into to this holiday season. So we have UPS, and I did have some of the job titles that they're hiring for on here for you all to be aware of. Whole Foods, of course, they have the in-store shoppers that are seasonal and part-time. So the difference is that seasonal, you have like a set amount of time that you'll be working and then your time is up with the organization, or part-time, that could be permanent. However, you work obviously like maybe 20 hours or a little bit more than that or less. but not the 40 or 30 to 40 hours that a full-time person would be looking at. And they're starting at $15 an hour at Whole Foods. So that's a really good for those that are looking maybe student wise, but for anyone that just wants to do a little something on the side. And it's funny because Jessica, we were talking earlier about the fact that we have forgotten about the art of just like going into somewhere and asking, hey, are you hiring? So that's the reason why I wrote down also retail stores, obviously malls. And I understand that even in the age of the pandemic, our retail stores are still open. So just go find your nearest mall. You can look up Barton Creek, and we know the Nordstrom is hiring. Five Below, Target has a lot of employment for students as well, and James Avery in South Park Meadows. Just a few examples of those that we kind of searched up to show you some of what you can hire at. And Rover and Wag. So of course, with the holidays, some people are still traveling, so that means that you're going to have the opportunity, if you like animals, to dog sit for those people and families that are leaving their furry pets behind for the holidays. So they want to find someone that is, of course, trustworthy. So if you fit the bill, definitely check that out. It's an app, so it's a little more on you for your own schedule. So it's more like you have to manage that yourself, but it's a great way to make some extra cash on the side as well. So just as a quick reminder, we do have the Q&A. And if you have any questions as we go, please feel free to ask. So the next step now is, if you're thinking, yeah, I want to look for a job, let's think about where you can go to find it. So we can actually go to Jobs Now. Jobs Now is a tool that we created with our organization, Workforce Solutions, to be able to find you work as it comes. So I'm actually going to show you what that looks like really quickly so you can see my screen. And I put, like, as a tip, if you're looking just for seasonal work, you can go ahead and just write in seasonal. So let me go ahead and put it on here. I saw we had a question just come in, so I'm going to answer that in just a sec. But yes, I wanted just to show everyone that once you put in seasonal, you can go up, down about 77 jobs. So it definitely made that number real small. So like I was saying, you see on here that it shows that it is a full-time position, $14 an hour. If you're interested and it is temporary, go to the job details, scroll down. You notice there's some contact info. So really what they're showing you here is that there is no website to just click on there, but you can go ahead and give them a call, say, hey, I'm interested in the position for a seasonal associate. How do I apply? It really is that simple sometimes. And since they don't have a link on here, that would be your best option for that. So let's go back onto the slides. Work in Texas. That's another great tool for you to be able to use online. Besides uploading your resume, you can also create it on there, but this is only for jobs in Texas. So it'll make your search a little smaller than if you were to use Indeed. So although Indeed, of course, is a great tool, you can always look up seasonal, and of course, you can find a ton of other jobs. And fun fact, so over 580 seasonal and temp jobs have been posted in just the last 30 days here in Austin's metro area. So there are a ton of jobs, y'all, for anyone that's looking. So don't feel discouraged. There's a ton of different ways that you can find work if that's what you're looking for right now. So let's get on to the next one. So say you find your job, say you wanted to work for maybe a month, maybe two into 2021. Now you're thinking, I kind of like this job. I want to stay here part-time even. I can work on the weekends. Again, this is something that you have to talk to your employer about. And one of the best skills that you can learn and kind of chisel away at is how to communicate and be assertive for yourself when the time comes to have the conversation with your employer and say, hey, I would love to be a part of the team long term. What could that look like for me? So really, it's just a matter of knowing what you want. How much are you able to work besides what you already do, or if you study and you're in school. Like, really be realistic about how much you can really, again, expend yourself, because you don't want to spread yourself out too thin either. I put the idea of being assertive versus aggressive. When you say and you talk to your employer, say like, hey, I feel that I can be an asset to the team. How, just find yourself with enthusiasm to say that you would want to be part of the team. And then that's how the conversation would be started. And I put it on here that it's a very personal thing for me that first generation students with working class parents, sometimes we just can't say no to things. So again, going back to the idea that if this is your part-time job, you want to make sure that although you are making yourself seem like an asset throughout your job, you're like, hey, yeah, I can do this, or I would love to help with that, whatever project it is, no matter where you're working, make sure that it is something that you feel comfortable with, and you're not just saying that I'm going to do it just because you feel like obligated to do so. That's not the case. You know, I think that a lot of the times, younger job seekers, students in high school still, I feel like we might not have like the autonomy at that age to say or be very, very assertive for ourselves. So I'm here to tell you that you definitely have the right to be that way. And, you know, just be realistic again with your employer and always communicate how you feel about things. And again, if you need to ease up on your workload, make sure you let that be known. And finally, for demonstrating your skill sets. So what is it that it takes to show your employer like, hey, this person, they can stay on for the long run. Because I was actually a seasonal employee with Kohl's. And then once the time had come, I was able to talk to my supervisor and, you know, let them know that like, yes, I would love to be part-time. And it was just that simple. They had said like, well, yes, you have work cashier. I did some customer service returns, and so they realized that I was very supportive of the team and I was willing to do different roles. But again, I only worked a certain amount of time after that situation had happened. So cross training is important. Make sure that you can show how you can morph into different roles. Very simple, you know, adaptable. Those are very key skills that you can work on in your part-time job as a temp. And then also take opportunities. Yeah, when you want to show that you want to keep working, you probably want to tell them like, oh yeah, I can maybe pick up one or two shifts apart from the ones that you already have scheduled, or just talk to always be very vocal about what your expectations are. And reemployment opportunities, what that would look like is like, say you actually did stop your job once a temporary time came up, maybe you should talk to them about next season, joining back on the team if you think, well, I will still be in the city. I like the job. I could see myself working here again. They are sometimes accommodating to that. And you'll see that they could say to you, reapply when the time comes. They know you, they know your reputation. So chances are that it's a pretty good opportunity for you to be able to come back in the next season. And of course, it's always a great place for you to be able to build your references list, build good connections with people that are your managers, even for letters of recommendation for your next job. So let's go on with the next one. So these next few slides, I just wanted to give a visual representation of where there are the top employers here in our Austin metro area. So this is only for the temporary and seasonal jobs, where we have Intuit, which is actually working with taxes, which is, you know, pretty, when you think about it, it's logical because tax season is coming up. So for those that may already be like certified to do taxes for someone, or you're trying to look for work, that is a huge surplus of those that are employers are looking for those kind of skills right now. Along with UPS, of course, shipments and all these gifts are coming our way. So of course, they are upping the amount of people that they are taking in for the seasonal time of the year. So make sure that you check those out if you're interested. There's a ton of more jobs. And the reason why we want to show these employers is because chances are that if you're looking for jobs and you're not super picky or very specific, you have really good chance of finding work in these different companies. So let's go on forward. So this is specifically looking at job titles. So if you were to look on Work in Texas or Indeed, you're going to see, no surprise here, that tax professionals and the tax experts are the ones that are being mostly sought after when it comes to temporary jobs, of course, because of taxes due at the beginning of the year. And retail work, of course, so Kohl's, Chick-fil-A, we have, you know, all these numerous stores and different retailers around our area that are looking for work as well. So just to give you a quick overview of the kind of work that you can see yourself doing in a part-time and temporary jobs right now as it stands as of today. So very up to date with these roles. And this is my favorite part, of course, is the job skills in our area. What is the most important skills that we're seeing are needed from our employees. Well, customer service, no doubt. It really doesn't matter what job, again, you're looking into. Chances are customer service it's going to come first. And for obvious reasons, we're working with the public, we're working with people in our community. And so therefore it's important that we can understand and be empathic of people, no matter what the role really looks like. So you can see how important it is there. And sales, so a lot of retail work, of course, that's not a surprise. And so there we go on the list of things. Y'all can write these down just because these are the kind of skills that you then want to put on a resume, right? If we're looking into work and you're trying to get some good interviews come your way, you definitely want to make sure that you look into these. And of course, the job description will tell you some of the skills that you should definitely hone in on. You always want to focus on the job description to make sure that your skills and your assets match the job description and what you would have to be doing for that job. So there you go. And yes, again, tax preparation is definitely still under for a lot of these skills. So that's you have a good opportunity to find work. So the weekly jobs report, this is awesome. Shout out to Jessica for putting these together for us and for our community, because this is going to give you a quick rundown by the week. And, it will change as it goes on. I already see a difference from the last week's. So you can see here specific job openings. For anyone that's looking, you can go into AutoZone, Subway, In-N-Out, Nordstrom, Burlington Coat Factory, just to name a few. And if you like these reports and you want to keep getting and receiving them, you can always just give us a quick email at careerladder@WFS Capital Area on here. And you can see on the side here, of course, FedEx, retail stores. And this is actually a PDF. So if you get this, you could just click on there and it'll take you to where you would apply. So that sounds good. We'll move on forward, but I just wanted to let you know that this is a resource that is available to you all, totally free. Just let us know, notify us through email that you'd like to receive that, and we'll send that your way. Awesome. Okay, so we are a little early on time, but that's totally fine. If anything, we'll just blow a little sooner, but I'm going to bring on Heather Hollister for the second half of our presentation, because Heather has been so graciously accepting of letting us learn a little more about Chick-fil-A, what they offer to possible employees. And Heather, I'm going to kind of turn some information to you. So, just if you would like to start with, how about some of the company's history? How many locations, if you know, in our metro area around Austin, for those that aren't really part of the city right now?
Yeah, so I'm sure y'all have all seen Chick-fil-A's pretty much all around Austin. In the greater Austin area, so that includes South Austin, Central Austin, and even North Austin up to about Cedar Park and Round Rock. There's about 20 to 30 locations. That does include mall locations as well, which I know with the pandemic, it seems like malls aren't doing very well, but they are, surprisingly. Everybody wants Chick-fil-A. So there are definitely a lot of locations and all around Austin. I will say that Chick-fil-A has been around for a long time, and it's one of the it's one of the companies that have done very well during this pandemic even. So we always need people. I always see other Chick-fil-A's hiring besides the one that I'm at, which is in North Austin off of 620. But all Chick-fil-A seem to be hiring right now. We do love hiring seasonal team members as well as full-time, part-time. So there's lots of opportunities within Chick-fil-A.
Nice. That's awesome. Heather, that's awesome. And yes, I will definitely advocate for that. Today, the line is amazing. I'm always amazed by the fact that you have every Chick-fil-A has 20, 30 people around lunchtime, and it's just flawless execution of the delivery drive-through. I don't know how you do that. I don't know if you can answer that question while we're here, but it's just mind boggled every time.
Someone figured out a really good process someday to just make the line go really quick.
The end. That's simple. Not really. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it's one of those things that Chick-fil-A is known for, is customer service. Heather, how about we talk a little bit about the hiring process then? What does it look like does it look different for students versus job seekers and adults?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same for everyone. All Chick-fil-A's, if you're interested, you can go to the Chick-fil-A and just search Chick-fil-A jobs. You can search by zip code. Some stores have the application available online and it gets sent directly to that store. Some you might have to call and see if they're hiring, but for the most part, all the application process is online. Most stores will do a phone interview, and then and it's normally just a very basic phone interview of like, what's your availability? Tell us a little bit about yourself. And then it's normally a 2 interview step process. I will say our interviews are not typical interviews. We really just like to get to know the interviewee, and it's just more of a conversation. A lot of people come in very nervous, but we just like to get to know you, see what your goals are. We love hiring students. I know this is a little down the road with perks and benefits, but Chick-fil-A does provide scholarships for college or anyone going to any school, trade school, and it's anywhere from $2,000 to $25,000. That's available for students as well, and seasonal, so you don't have to be here full time to be able to get that scholarship. So that's a really awesome perk. You can apply for it every year too. So it's a good way to like work your way through school. And that's at all Chick-fil-A's as well.
Awesome. I did not know that. That's very
Yeah,
impressive. Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
that's awesome. Heather, have you been working a long time with Chick-fil-A?
So I have worked with Chick-fil-A, this location particularly about 2 years. Chick-fil-A as a whole, probably about 5 years. It's a great company to work for. They build the whole company on just the idea of caring, not just caring for guests, but caring for the team members as well. And I think that sometimes can be a little bit hard to find is employers that truly care about your well-being and not just about the business. So it's definitely it sounds so corny, but it's like a big family here at Chick-fil-A. You know, the owners really know each and every team member and get involved in their lives, which is really nice. And it's a great way to build skills and relationships that will help you further down the line. We know that not everybody's going to be at Chick-fil-A for their life. We hope they are. We don't like to see people go, but we want to make sure that we prepare people for their lives outside of Chick-fil-A and give them the skill sets that they need to help further their career.
Awesome. That's really nice to hear. I know it's always good to think of the future.
Yeah.
How about some open jobs at Chick-fil-A right now as they stand?
Yeah, so I'll speak. I know for some other locations, I know they're definitely hiring some seasonal. There also are some locations that are doing what's called operator-led delivery. It's kind of like DoorDash, but it's done through Chick-fil-A. So they're hiring drivers specifically to just deliver food to people that order the food. So it's like bypassing third-party delivers. So I know there are some locations hiring for that. At our location particularly, we are hiring part-time, full-time, front of house, back of house. One thing that's great, I don't know about other stores, but we do pay very well. It's very competitive. So we start at $14 an hour for full-time, part-time's $12 an hour. And then one thing that's awesome is you're not stuck there. We love to give raises. We love people. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to move up within the company, which is really nice. You know, you're not just stuck at one position.
I love that. Yeah, we at Workforce Solutions say we want to climb the ladder and make sure that those that want to continue climbing the ladder and the rungs have the opportunity to do that. So that's really exciting. And another reason why, of course, it's such a great employer to speak with is the fact that you value that about for your employees. And that's something that I tell students a lot is that you always want to make sure that you are growing as a professional, no matter your job. There's always going to be growth that you can create in your role. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, when does Chick-fil-A experience a high volume of job openings? Is it seasonal, like toward the
So
end of the year?
I will say we hit our peak times in summer. So like spring is always a good time to apply, especially because that's hopefully when we might have our dining room open. Knock on wood, hopefully. Yeah. But I would say most Chick-fil-A's are always hiring. We're always looking for people, even if we say we're not. If we have somebody come in that just shows ambition and wants to work with us, we will hire anyone that shows that they want to work with us. And so we're never not hiring.
Mhm. Oh, that's good to know. Yes. So it just means that you just have to ask sometimes. You have to call and ask. Is that something that you recommend for those that might not find positions online for the
Yeah,
Chick-fil-A that they might want?
I would definitely reach out, always call the store, leave your number, even if you fill out an application. You know, sometimes there's so many applications that it just kind of gets buried. So always call and follow up on your application. That also just shows initiative and that you are wanting to work there and you're not just like blowing it off. So I think always following up is always a plus. It just shows that you are really interested. And it just gives that, I will say when I call people, when people apply and there's been somebody that's already followed up with me, they're the first call I'll do just because it shows that initiative.
Yay, I love those like insider tips because I mean, again, hearing from someone that does the actual process, like I would preach to the choir, like you all need to make sure that you look like you want the position. There
Yeah.
are many people that could be in your position doing the same thing and don't do that extra step, and that sets you apart, obviously. Thanks
I
for
also
yeah.
will say fill out every part of the application. I think I know it sounds, some of it's really boring, but when only the application's half filled out, it doesn't look like you tried. So definitely fill out all the application, give as much detail as you can. It again just shows that extra step.
Mhm, mhm. Right. Is there a certain part in an application that people
I
seem
think
to
people like
omit?
to skip on like skills and don't really list a whole lot of skills. It's very short, like 2 or 3 words. We get hardworking a lot, and that's
Yeah.
the only skill. So just kind of or just, just tell us a little bit about yourself, like why you might want to work at Chick-fil-A, anything like that. It's just really, it just sets you apart from all the applications that are just very standard and monotonous.
Yeah. Does it work to say that you love their food?
Absolutely, 100%. No, we've
Um,
hired people that have never had Chick-fil-A. So you can hate Chick-fil-A and still work here. I'd just be shocked.
I know, like, do you want to admit that? Like, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really great information. So yeah, we know you did touch upon that, but I would love to hear more if you want to share some more details on the perks and the benefits that come with working with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, so obviously the scholarship I feel like is the biggest perk we have.
Yeah,
I mean, you can get $25,000 that pays for a lot of school. So that's one of the biggest things I would say. Besides that, when different Chick-fil-A's have different policies, but for us, it's half off of all food. So hopefully you do love Chick-fil-A because that's always fun. Another thing that we really like to invest in our team members. So every month we have like employee appreciation where it's anywhere from like catered meals to like little swag bags. We have Thanksgiving parties. We're having our Christmas party this Sunday. So that's always really nice. Also, you're off every Sunday. I mean, big perk there, which is, very different from many other restaurants and sales jobs. And then also off all holidays, major holidays. So Thanksgiving, you're off, Christmas, you're off. Thanksgiving, the day after Black Friday, it's shortened hours, Christmas Eve, shortened hours. Even like New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, it's all shortened hours, 4th of July. So there is that flexibility where if you need off for holidays, you pretty much have them guaranteed off. And then the other perk is I think what I've heard from a lot of people and a lot of people that I've stayed connected to that have moved on past the store is that having Chick-fil-A on your resume is actually really a good thing just because we have a very high standard of community or customer service. We have the My Pleasure. It's fast paced. People understand that you can handle a lot more when you've had that experience at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yes. I totally get that. Yes. So that means that a lot of the times you do have people leave Chick-fil-A, I'm sure, because of the fact that they've developed such great skills working for you all. I'm sure that customer service is the number one thing that people think of when you think of Chick-fil-A. So it's comes up in conversation a lot. So you are totally right.
Yeah. I mean, you'll start saying My Pleasure outside of work and it's just,
Good manners. Look at that,
yeah.
southern just hospitality kind of feel. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so yeah, what can you tell us a little more about the culture once you're in as a family?
Yeah, so the culture of Chick-fil-A, I mean, the very first Chick-fil-A was done by Truett Cathy, and he instilled the care aspect of, if we don't care for the people in the store, then we shouldn't even be open. So it all, and even like the owner at this Chick-fil-A, his motto is to be the preferred place to work and dine in Austin. And he wanted to make sure that work was put before dine, because he said if it's not the preferred place to work, then nothing else matters. So it's very much about people centered and making sure that our team is happy, that our team is feeling that they're being challenged and they have the ability to move up and are constantly being have that ability to keep learning, and but also at the same time being appreciated. I think many times some places don't appreciate or don't show appreciation, and that can lead to not wanting to work and not wanting to go into work. So we want to make sure everyone comes in, loves being here. We have, oh my gosh, during quarantine we had a ping pong table, because it was just things to make the day-to-day life easier. And we want it to be a place where people can come and they don't have to worry about stress. It's just a fun place to work. So caring is like our number one thing at Chick-fil-A, is just to care for each other and for the team as a whole.
Wow. That I love that, because I like what I was speaking of earlier on is like, I think that younger students, they might not understand what it feels like to be empowered in a workplace yet. And I think that once you see it, when it's not there. So having the idea that you can empower someone and show them like you want to be challenged, like this is what you should want for yourself, from an employer, that's super powerful, because then you're going to turn around and say like, I know what I want for myself. And that's
Mhm.
that's fantastic. I had a question here really quickly, if you don't mind, Heather,
Yeah.
for the audience, and it's from Christine. She said that it might be a good fit for her working for Chick-fil-A. If it's not you that she should contact, is there a contact information for another representative, or?
So I would say, depending on the location of what Chick-fil-A you would want to work at, is going to depend on who you'd contact.
Mhm.
The best thing is just to go to Chick-fil-A. If you just Google search Chick-fil-A jobs, it'll actually take you to the Chick-fil-A website, and you can search by zip code and find the
Okay.
store that is closest to you and see if they're hiring. But every Chick-fil-A has their own hiring person, every store.
Mhm. Perfect. Thank you.
But
Alrighty.
if FM 620 is close to you, then that'd be me.
Yeah. Awesome. So yes, Christina, that is, then we can, you can always send us an email, and if that would be the case, and Heather, we can uh, share your contact info afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can also, if you want, I can also put the link to apply for our store. That would be the link.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yes. So it's on the chat for anyone that is close to the 620 FM Chick-fil-A and is interested in applying today. So yes, thank you, Heather, for putting that link on there. So yeah, I know we definitely talked about customer service, but what other top skills can we expect for Chick-fil-A employees to really look for? What do you look for that?
Yeah, so obviously customer service is the biggest thing. Also, I feel like multitasking is a big thing here. You're constantly doing something, constantly, maybe even 2 or 3 things at the same time. So multitasking. There's also a lot of opportunities to gain knowledge in more leadership roles. We have a lot of positions like shift lead, training captain, drive-through captain. We have leadership positions in the back of house. You can learn stuff more if you're wanting to go more marketing. We have marketing positions, and you can learn different things like that. If you're wanting to do more administrative, HR. So really, wherever your interest is, we love to help people gain knowledge. So if you decide you want to learn marketing, hang out a couple days a week with our marketing director. And so there's definitely a lot of opportunity to gain leadership skills, maybe even more specific skills to whatever you might be interested in the future. And some of the people we have in leadership right now aren't even graduated from high school. So it's a very easy way. Yeah, it's a very easy way to get some leadership skills early on that we help you develop. and help you grow in those roles to when, if you ever do leave, you have that already under your belt.
That's amazing. Yes. We love our young leaders.
Yeah, they're awesome. They bring a whole new different dynamic and view on different things. So it's really nice.
That's fantastic. Love that. Okay, so take notes, audience. So yeah, I know we did talk about filling out an entire application when you do go ahead and apply, but any other pointers that you can, so when someone puts it in, what would make them stand out?
I would say just like, and if there's any questions about, don't give just generic answers, what you think people want to hear. I think it's a lot of like, I think they want to hear this and that's what we get. But I think just being honest is the best thing, even if it's like, hey, I'm just looking for something for a week. Which if that's the case, cool. Or, hey, I'm just looking, I've never worked in a restaurant. I know nothing about this, but I'm willing to learn. Like anything that's really honest that we know, like you're at least trying, that will totally work. And then if there's any questions, that's like an open answer question, give a little more than just a sentence. It just shows that you put thought and time into it and didn't just rush through it just to fill it out.
Got it. That's perfect. Yes. And these are all paper applications, Heather? Or are these
So they should all be online. Most of them are online. It's because of COVID, it's been a little different for stores on handing out paper applications and receiving those as well. I know some stores you can text certain numbers to fill out an application through your phone, but for the most part, most of them are all online.
Online. Okay. Perfect. Good to know. Yeah. Has that changed a lot? Like, have a lot of the things that you all instilled changed because of the pandemic, or just kind of very
There's
minimal?
definitely been a lot of changes and a lot of figuring out how to change things to make sure everyone's comfortable and safe. And that's our number one priority, is making sure like the team members, there was a patch where we're like, we don't want team members to feel like they have to come into work if they don't feel safe. So there's a period where we weren't taking cash as payment just because we didn't want that contact. And our team, and that was mostly from our team members. It wasn't a Chick-fil-A decision. The team members just didn't feel comfortable. So there's definitely a lot of changes. It's weird not having our dining room open. It's kind of turned into a whole just lounge area, which is kind of nice, but there's definitely been a lot of changes.
Oh, thank you so much. That was a really good overview of everything. So, like I had said, we have until 4:30. We have a good amount of time left. So please, we have opened up the floor for questions. Do the chat, do the Q&A. And Heather, is there anything that you'd like to add, or anything that we missed with our overview, or something that just sparks up?
Not that I can think of. I will say this one thing that's really cool about Chick-fil-A, and I just for those that are seasonal, it's very easy to be seasonal during like the winter time and then like come back for the summertime. It's also really easy to transfer between Chick-fil-A's. So there's definitely those options where, and we also, if you think you're seasonal and then want to stay longer or just work one day a week, most Chick-fil-A's are very cooperative with that and love to work with people's schedules. And so that's one thing that's also very nice about Chick-fil-A, is they're very easy on whatever you need and works with your schedule best, easy to accommodate.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Do you see a lot of transfers over to, and like, does the process, like how could someone go about doing like a transfer then? Like,
Yeah, so we have the transfers that we've really only seen are ones that start here and then go to college outside of Austin and transfer to a Chick-fil-A there. It's pretty simple. You would still have to fill out the application for that Chick-fil-A, but then they would contact us. And I mean, obviously, as long as there's no, you weren't terminated for any poor reasons or anything, we just contact that operator, say, hey, we think they're great. They have our blessing to go and work at this Chick-fil-A, and that's it. So it's you're already in the system. It's just making sure that Chick-fil-A has open positions, and if they do, then it's fine.
Awesome. Good to know. Yeah, I mean, you all heard it. It seems like it's a great, fantastic place. Of course, no question asked, to work for Chick-fil-A. And my favorite part, of course, is the amount of opportunity that you have to not just do the food part, right? I think it's fantastic thinking of marketing as something that you can think, like if you were in school, for example, like in college, and you're thinking, I mean, I'm into business, that's what I'm doing, but I could work at Chick-fil-A and maybe, you know, in a sense, like intern for that idea of marketing and what that looks like for a huge business like Chick-fil-A. That's fantastic, because I don't think a lot of people think of that. You know, it's not just the food, it's the marketing, it is the human resources, the
Mhm.
hiring process. So it's good to make that distinction. And we did have a question really quickly,
Mhm.
and just on how long is the hiring process once the application has been submitted?
So for us, the hiring process, once the application's submitted, normally you'll get a call within 2 days. I will say it's pretty quick, 24 to 48 hours. Um, and then normally we try to set up an interview as soon as possible. So it's really up to your availability. And normally there will be two interviews in that same day. After that, as far as starting, it's almost like a week. So it's the whole process normally takes about a week to before you're like on the floor working.
Hmm.
But I've seen
And
as quick as like 3 days.
yeah, you're like boom, boom, boom. And then training, does that look like you have someone on to with you
Yeah.
as soon as you start? And
So
what does
training's
that?
really it's really awesome. So the first 3 days of training is through an app called Pathway. It's kind of just going over the basics, and you just sit down and you go through that. It's very I'll be honest, it's very boring. It's watching videos that are very lame. But after that, you have somebody next to you for about 4 or 5 days, teaching you every position, just showing you the ins and out of Chick-fil-A, and they'll be by your side the whole time. So if you're never left alone, or anything like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. We had another question come in
Mhm.
asking, what are the requirements to work at Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, requirements. There's really no set requirements. I mean, we hire 15-year-olds. Um, Obviously, there are labor laws that really limit the amount of hours you can work during those times as a 15-year-old. But there's no requirements. You don't have to have any previous restaurant experience. You don't have to have any previous experience. I guess the biggest requirement would kind of be depending on what availability stores are looking for, and
Mm,
just if that fits in with what you're able to work. But really, no
mm,
requirements.
awesome. It's 15 years of age. Awesome. Yes. We love our entry level jobs. That's a big one that students are always asking for. So definitely want to make sure that Chick-fil-A is on top of the line.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Well, we do have just maybe 15 minutes under. I'll give another few seconds to see if any questions come in, or a minute or so. But if there aren't any, Heather, this has been so nice to talk to you. I really, really appreciate your time. And I know Zoom call after Zoom calls, it could be a little exhausting. So I really, really am grateful that you were able to spend some time in the afternoon today and talk to our audience.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hopefully I'll see some applications.
Yeah, let them roll in. Awesome. Yeah, so I think that we're good. I'm trying to just give a few more minutes in case anyone just thinks last minute question, but we have the link on there on the chat that for Heather's store, you can go ahead and put applications in. I have also yes, so Jessica, thank you for noting that. Is that we are going to be able to send an email with to all the attendees today. So make sure that you check your spam and junk folders as well, because sometimes it'll sneak in there. So by the end of tomorrow, just in case you don't see the email right away, make sure that you do check on that, because we're going to have the slides for today. We can also have any kind of information with like the weekly reports and anything like that. So we're here to help you. You know, if it's not Chick-fil-A that you're looking for, of course, we're also here to help you write resumes, to give you more insight into different programs that we also offer to our job seekers and our students within the school system. So I have here one more time the slide where you can go ahead and connect to us digitally. So we have our climbtheladderctx.com microsite where you can find all great resources for students and for job seekers alike. So you can book an appointment actually with a specialist like myself in order to talk about your different options for work, if you wanted to learn more about the different part-times that we offer, and also the ways that you can search online, we can help you do that process and kind of teach you what that looks like. And of course on YouTube, this will actually be on YouTube in a little bit, for you to be able to look back on the tips that we shared today and all the great intel that Heather was able to share with us. So thank you so much again, everyone. We're going to wrap it up because this has been a fantastic webinar, and we'll leave it on a high note. This was our winter work webinar. We will be back after the new year with another one, so you can check out our next employer spotlight. Heather, again, thanks so much for your time, and have a fantastic day. Thank you.